Cruise news time. Well, I'm sure you've seen the word out today. All cruises canceled. Ports of call denying access to all cruise ships. Outbreaks on every cruise ship. Have you seen this in your social media? Have you seen this on the mainstream news? Have you seen this in the blogosphere? Have you seen this on YouTube? What? There's a lot of misconceptions and a lot of untruths. Cruise news. Let's talk about it. Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back to Lido, Loca. I'm your host, Tony, here with the latest cruise news updates. Well, first and foremost, before it gets all hot and heavy in here, let me say welcome to the show. Welcome to Monday, January the 3rd, 2022. We're finally here, the first Monday of 2022. It feels like the year is finally kicking off. Are you ready to get into it? Are you ready to get productive? Are you ready to go cruising? Well, how can we go cruising? Everybody's saying that because of the warning from the CDC that cruising is over. Or isn't every port of call turning away all the cruise ships? Look, I had a different direction planned for the show today. Thank you guys for all the encouragement and support yesterday. But as I was doing my research for today's show, I came across this fine article from Royal Caribbean blog. My friend over there, Matt, the gold standard for information when it comes to Royal Caribbean and cruising in general. He puts out this article saying that there's some misconceptions being thrown around because of Omicron. And I read through the article and it's super insightful and it hit me like a ton of bricks that sometimes when we go through and we report the news that people that don't pay attention or don't want to pay attention, they just want to take the nuggets of the news and make some sort of falsity about it. Falsity, is that a word? Falseness about it. So last week we covered a lot of stuff. We covered cruise ships being denied access to cruise ports. We covered entertainment not happening on some cruise ships. We covered increases of cases because of Omicron. We covered the CDC saying that nobody should go cruising, and taken at the surface any of those headlines, somebody that didn't want to dig any deeper could have run with it and come up with those weird generalized statements that I made at the beginning of the show, and that's dangerous. And let me do this. Let me clear up those misconceptions just so nobody has it twisted out there. And then let's talk about how do we take the information that we hear and do something positive with it. Before I get there, let me quickly invite you to subscribe if you want to stay up to date with everything that's going on in cruising. It's a single jazz hand. Cruising. This hand, I don't know. Cruising. Please consider subscribing with the notification bell on. That way you don't miss out on any of these episodes. Welcome to all the new members of the Locafam. We continue to grow. Big stretch goal this year. We're trying to get to 18 million subscribers. We'll have a party if we do that. I think we can. Please hit the subscribe button, notification bell. All right. Misconception number one. The CDC came out last week and said nobody should go cruising. Hence, therefore, and ergo, all cruises will be shut down. Well, that's not true. That's not true, and that's not happening. The CDC, it's just an advisory. It's just a warning. It's just a piece of information for people to consider when they're making their decision whether or not to go cruising. The decision is with the people. You can do your own risk analysis and decide whether or not you want to go cruising. Nobody's stopping you, and it seems like people are making that assessment, and many people are still going cruising. Many cruises went out this past weekend after that warning. Many cruises and many cruisers celebrated New Year's Eve on a cruise ship. There is no indication that the cruising is slowing down. More and more cruise ships coming online here in January as we march through the cruise restart, as cruise lines use their extensive protocols to deal with increased cases on board, to deal with the Omicron variant, to deal with keeping cruises safe. That's what the is. That's what's going on right now. And so at this point, cruise is not being shut down. Misconception number two, all cruise ports are turning away cruise ships because of increased cases. That is true in some instances. Matt puts the statistic out there. He knows the Royal Caribbean stats. Out of over 300 stops, 15 Royal Caribbean stops were turned away, or the ports of call were canceled. And so that's 15 out of over 300. And so the true statement is some cruise ships are being denied access to cruise ports, but most are not. And so you can tell that story a couple ways. You can say, oh my goodness, cruise ports are turning away cruise ships, or you could say most cruise ports are not turning away cruise ships. So somebody's going to be lucky, somebody is going to be unlucky. Obviously, we're going to hear the stories of both, and I've gotten the stories of both. People saying I went on a cruise and nothing happened, it was cruising as usual, and people sending me stories like this was horrible, we didn't get to go to any of our ports, and bad stuff happened. So that's the state of cruising right now, but the reality is the people that are missing ports are way less than the people that are not missing ports. Matt also addresses the idea of private islands in this article. There was some conversation last week whether Royal Caribbean ships were missing their stop at Coco Cay. I know for sure that MSC missed their stop at Ocean Cay, that they were denied by the Bahamian government, but Matt points out that there were no Royal ships that missed their Coco Cay stop. There was some delay in a couple stops, but passengers still got to enjoy the island. So people out there, they're saying, I covered the MSC thing, but you can't draw from the one MSC, and I said it in my report that I hadn't heard of any other cruise lines missing their private islands. So, but somebody's going to run with the, Ocean Cay, MSC was turned away, all private islands. You can't do that. You can't do that. And so, again, more cruise ships making their stops at private islands than not making their stops at private islands. Another story I covered last week was that on the NCL breakaway, they had crew members, cast members of the entertainment staff that were sick, and therefore their entertainment was canceled for the week. This is what we heard from the cruise ship. Now, anecdotally, I've heard from other cruise ships that, yes, our show got canceled because of crew, but for the majority, entertainment is going on. And so, again, you can't make this blanket statement that there's going to be no entertainment on your next cruise. There's going to be, like I said, there's going to be people that are affected by this, people that are not affected by this, and right now the majority of the people are not affected by this. And look, we're just talking about cruising. It is a mess. It is a mess with the social media. It is a mess with people just running with the headlines. It is a mess with people not doing 1 minute worth of reading to understand what the is. Don't be so easily manipulated. Everybody's trying to get your attention out there with titles that are going to get you to read the article or to watch the video. And if you don't read the article or watch the video, you're gonna miss it. The reason I put this out here, and I think this is an important message that Matt from Royal Caribbean put out. He didn't ask me to put out this message, but I'm going to challenge other creators out there to talk about misconceptions in cruising right now and to continue to beat the drum that where we're at right now is cruising going forward. Again, everybody gets to make their own decision. Everybody has to assess their own risk, but I am very grateful right now that the cruise industry is being allowed to take care of its own health and safety. I know there's some people out there that's saying, well, how is that good that some greed-driven organization about profit, why is it good that they're in charge of their health and safety? I've made this argument for over 2 years. Health and safety is part of the profit model for cruise ships. If you have sick and dead cruise passengers, you will not be profitable. And so making sure that passengers and crew are healthy and safe is part of the way that cruise lines are profitable. And so you're going to have to come up with another argument that it would not be in their self-interest to keep people safe, because that's ridiculous. You can't have cruising without safe passengers. And so cruise faithful, and I'm talking to you right now, empower yourself with the knowledge of what's going on in cruising. Be able to speak clearly and succinctly about what the is. Cruising not being shut down, passengers allowed to do their own risk assessment, cruise lines going above and beyond with their health and safety protocols, and push back against the misinformation. But do it with love. That's the hardest thing, right? Do it with love. We live in a society, I love that phrase. We live in a society where people think that bullying, name-calling, degrading is the way to affect change. It is not. Those are the ways to turn people against you. You catch more flies with honey than vinegar, but knowledge is power. I'm going to run through all the cliches. Take the knowledge that you have about cruising and politely push back against this misinformation. Somebody says that all cruising is being shut down. Politely say, well, hey, I haven't seen that. Can you give me some more insight? Because what I know is that cruising's going forward and people are able to make their own choices. That's all you have to say. You don't have to call somebody a name, and you will win more people's hearts and minds with kindness than you will being a big bully. Let me kick this soapbox out. Boom! Let me give it over to you. How do we battle this misconception? What's some crazy misconceptions you've seen? Where have you seen it? Social media, in your friend circle. Let's have that conversation as a community. Thank you so much for checking out the show today. You can show your support for Lido Loca by hitting the like button. I almost hate to threaten you guys after that, but I know that some people are waiting to be threatened. If you do not hit the like button, your newspaper person will miss your house every time, and your Sunday edition will be in your neighbor's azaleas, gardenias, Choco Taco. I don't know. I couldn't think of a good plan, but dude, are there still newspaper delivery out there? That's how old I am. Thank you so much for checking out the show. This is Tony with Lido Loca. Check out this video. How about that? Let me give you one of those. Check out this video. And until the next time, we'll see you on the Lido. Bye.